shot. Police can't approach to confirm his death because of suspicious items he was carrying. A bomb disposal team is at the scene. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer left a summit in Denmark to fly home.
Additional police assets are being deployed to synagogues across the country, and we will do everything to keep our Jewish community safe.
This is Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. King Charles says he's shocked. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
The government shutdown continues after a vote to end it failed in the Senate Wednesday after both parties failed to reach a compromise. Republicans blame Democrats for not agreeing to what they described as a clean, short-term funding bill. Another vote to end the shutdown is expected tomorrow. Vice President J.D. Vance says the shutdown will affect critical services.
The government does a lot of things. Of course, Republicans think that the federal government probably does too much, but there are a lot of critical things the federal government does that absolutely all of us would agree need to do. Our troops need to get paid. Our air traffic controllers need to make sure that people are flying safely and on time.
But White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says there will be consequences for this move by Democrats.
Unfortunately, because the Democrats shut down the government, the president has directed his cabinet, and the Office of Management and Budget is working with agencies across the board to identify where cuts can be made. And we believe that layoffs are imminent. They are, unfortunately, a consequence of this government shutdown.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune says Democrats have lost their minds because of their hatred of President Trump.
They've lost all rationale when it comes to their hatred for President Trump. They can't see straight, they're blinded by it, and they're willing to do what used to be, in their minds, I think, really pretty crazy and stupid things. But that's the world we're now living in.
This week, President Donald Trump announced an agreement with Pfizer to bring American drug prices in line with the lowest paid by other developed nations. This is the first agreement with a major pharmaceutical company, and Trump said there is more to come. Phil Kerpen of Unleash Prosperity says this is significant.
This is not a price control. This is a voluntary commitment by one of the major manufacturers that they're not going to impose, price controls on their existing drugs or anything like that. But when they launch new drugs in the future, they're saying, we're going to launch it at one global price for the rich countries. We're not going to continue to charge very high prices in the U.S. To make our investment back, but agree to below market prices in the other rich countries set by governments, and that's going to be really, really interesting.
A legal firm says it is prepared to defend a social worker that came under fire from his employer. The reason? He refused to go along with a so-called transgender pronoun policy.
Travis Tarpo is the social worker's name, according to Mariah Gundiro, an attorney for Liberty Counsel. This is happening now in Oregon. Tarpo sent an email to his supervisor at the Clackamas County Health, Housing, and Human Services Department, explaining his position and that he was not able to comply. The supervisor replied, explicitly threatening to demote Mr. Tarpo, per CBN. The supervisor further said that if word comes back that Tarpo is not complying, he'll be removed from the wraparound coach role. And then after that, if it continues, they'll move into the progressive discipline process. Attorney Mariah Gundiro explained Tarpo's position in an interview with AFN.
Kind of what we're seeing all across the country in government agencies, they're requiring their social workers to follow pronoun policies, mandatory pronoun policies, and these policies require employees and social workers and therapists to affirm a child's perceived gender identity, regardless of the age, even if it deviates from their parents' desires.
She explained that Tarpo is a religious man and that this requirement violates both his religious convictions and his constitutional beliefs. Tarpo is requesting a religious exemption to the requirement and a guarantee that his employer will not demote or otherwise retaliate against him. Gundiro explained that Tarpo contacted Liberty Counsel about this. Her team sent a demand letter to the county. She said the county is still in the process of reviewing the demand and deciding their next move. She said her team will give about 2 more weeks maximum for them to respond before possibly suing them. I'm Bronson Woodruff.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
Thoughts of the child you were carrying keep pouring over in your mind. A deep, unrelenting sadness overshadows your days, and you wonder if you will ever feel whole again. There is hope and healing from a reproductive loss. Call the International Helpline, 866-482-LIFE, and talk with someone who has been where you are. Your call is confidential, and we will help you find healing. 866-482-LIFE.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Today's Thursday, October the 2nd, 2025. Thank you for listening to AFR. Joining me in studio is Fred Jackson. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning, Tim.
Chris Woodward.
Good morning.
And Ray Pritchard's in Kansas City, KS. How you doing, Ray?
Hey, I'm doing great, Tim. How are you doing?
Everything's good here. We've got a lot of folks in town for our AFA weekend time, and so we're just delighted to have supporters here who are joining us, and we welcome folks I know who want to drop by sometime and see us. They go in here, there, or the other, right, Fred?
Yeah, I just met a bunch folks. Pennsylvania, they drove 16 hours to be down here from Missouri, and then Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
They drove 16 hours from Missouri. They did go through Pennsylvania.
No, 16 hours from Pennsylvania.
Oh, I misunderstood.
Yes.
I was just kidding. I really understood, but thought I'd make a bad joke about folks from the Show Me State, where I was born, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes, I was born in the Show Me State.
Oh.
You didn't know that?
I did not. I just figured,
1963.
1963?
Yes,
okay.
I remember it well.
Yes, and my dad was stationed at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there.
It's Army base there.
Don't they call it Fort Lost in the Woods?
It's out in the middle of nowhere. That's for sure.
It's a huge base.
Yeah, one time it was one of the largest, if not the largest, base by acreage and military base in the country. I don't know if it still is or not. Anyway, so I was born, and that's about 3 hours from you, right, Ray?
I've been right past Fort Leonard Woods, and
there's no S on the end.
There's no S. That's right. There's no S.
It's at Fort Leonard Wood.
Wood, and it is truly out in the middle of nowhere, just as Fred said.
Named after a man, who was an Army. I don't know if he was a general or whatever,
Yep.
but
My son-in-law was based there for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, listen, folks, thanks for joining us on the program today. A lot to talk about. Ray, give us a good word from the Bible, if you would.
Hey, still in the book of Job with my wife, but we came this week to, Tim, one of the greatest verses in the book of Job and in the Old Testament. Hey, in the whole Bible, Job is discussing with the Lord. Oh, if I could only find you, Lord, I want to present my case. And, you could look at Job in one way and say, well, he's just a complainer. Well, but look, Fred, if we went through what Job went through, we'd have a few things we wanted to say to God as well.
Oh, yeah.
I've lost everything. Then his wife tells him, curse God and die,
Yeah.
It's rough. Okay, so you come to Job 23, and you're kind of slogging through Bildad, Zohar, Eliphaz, they're arguing with him, but then you come to this great, great, great verse. Job reaches up with his faith and looks at God and says, he knows the way that I take.
Yeah.
When he has tried me, I shall come forth as gold. Folks, there are a lot of furnace times in life. Most of them come unexpected. They all come unwanted. Very few of them are announced in advance, but we know life can turn on a dime. And some of our listeners today, you're in the fire, you're in the crucible, you're in the furnace, and you feel like you've been there forever and wonder if you'll ever get out. And I remember what Warren Wiersbe said, your Heavenly Father knows what he's doing. He's got his hand on the thermostat. You won't let it get 1 degree hotter than necessary, and you won't be there 1 second longer than you need to be. That's what Job meant when he said, he knows the way that I take when he's tried me. We all go through the trying times.
Yeah.
And here's the promise of God. When he's tried me, when he's done, I shall come forth as gold. Doesn't mean we'll be rich.
No.
Unless you mean with the gold of Christian character, with the gold of Christ-like character, with the gold of the dross of life, having been burned away in the furnace, we shall come forth more beautiful than ever because God is using our trials to make us like Jesus. And one final word, Tim, and I'll turn it back to you. When I was younger, which was a long time ago, and I read this verse, I was all jazzed. Gold. Hey, God's going to make gold out of me. I still like that. But it's the two words at the beginning, Tim, that mean so much to me. He knows. When I don't know, he knows. When I can't see, he sees. When life makes no sense to me, God still knows exactly what he is doing. And I am so glad. So, folks, whatever you're going through today, and some of us going through really hard times, or loved ones going through hard times, hang on to Jesus. Don't give up and don't turn away, because eventually the trial will end and you'll come forth like gold for the glory of God. God knows what he's doing, even when we don't have a clue.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Let me ask you this, Ray. I've always heard the expression, we all have, he has the patience of Job. Okay, the question is, did Job really have patience?
Well, James makes that very argument. He talks about consider the perseverance and the long suffering of Job. That's in James chapter 5. So it's perfectly biblical to say the patience of Job, but understand there were moments, and more than a few, where Job felt forgotten, he felt upset, and he felt angry. Mm-hmm. And I think when you go through a hard time, you'll go through the whole gamut of human emotions. But the patience of Job means that even when you are frustrated, upset, and fearful, you do not turn away from the Lord. Let me say this, friends. When hard times come, run to Jesus. Don't run away from him. Nothing will ever get better for you if in hard times you run away from the Lord. Run to him. Run to his grace and to his mercy and to his kindness. And eventually, if it seems dark around you right now, the sun is going to shine again. And Tim, that's what I think it means. The patience of Job. We hang on to God in the hardest times. We don't turn around, and we don't run away.
So you're telling me the sun will come out tomorrow?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that, but I couldn't work that into
Well, when
the
you
devotion.
said it, that's the first thing that popped in my mind.
Yeah.
What was
I
the
said you can bet your bottom dollar on that.
Little Orphan
That's right.
Annie?
Yeah.
Little Orphan Annie.
Hey, one thing I've always taken away from Job, and maybe this is why he had patience or perseverance, that guy had terrible friends.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. Choose your friends better than Job did. That's one lesson from the Bible, right?
Well, and one other quick lesson. He had 3 friends. Remember, when they first saw him, they were so overcome. They wept. But they sat in silence for 7 days, unable to say a word. They only got in trouble when they opened their mouth.
Yeah, there it is.
That's me.
All right.
I'm going to remain silent for the rest of the show. Fred, take it up.
All right. Well, listen, thank you, Ray, for that good word from the Holy Bible and lessons. We hope that you are in the Word of God every day, because we need the inspiration and we need the life lessons, and we need to build our faith in God, because life is a rough and rocky road oftentimes for a lot of folks, for most of us, right? Mm-hmm. You're listening to Today's Issues. What is your first story, Chris?
Well, the government shutdown continues. And
does it continue?
As is the case with any government shutdown, the party leaders are blaming one another for the shutdown. Case in point, we have a lot of audio this morning from Democrats and Republicans.
How long has it been shut down?
For a day and counting.
Okay.
It shut down at midnight yesterday morning, and it's still shut down today, although there are reports and speculation that Democrats may come around this afternoon, but who knows? But as I was saying, Democrats are blaming Republicans for this. Democrats say that Republicans are not agreeing to their demands that the government do more in the way of funding for health care and Corporation for Public Broadcasting, i.e. NPR and PBS. Republicans are saying that Democrats really just want to fund illegal immigrants and their health care and left-wing media outlets that do the bidding of Democrats here. I've got some audio from Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer blaming Republicans for all this. Clip 1.
Republicans tried to bully us, and it's clear they can't. They don't have the votes. The way out of this is for Republicans to finally roll up their sleeves and get to work. Republicans need to get serious and start actually addressing the looming crisis and reopen the government.
Now, somebody in government, in the Trump administration itself, that knows a thing or two about the Senate and how it works is Vice President J.D. Vance, who, of course, was a senator from Ohio. Vice President Vance was at yesterday's press briefing, and he blamed Democrats for all this. Clip 2.
The Chuck Schumer AOC wing of the Democratic Party shut down the government because they said to us, we will open the government, but only if you give billions of dollars of funding for health care for illegal aliens. That's a ridiculous proposition.
Well, is that true? I trust Vice President Vance on that, but I mean,
Mike Johnson has
some
said the same
Democrats
thing.
say it's not true.
Well, Mike Johnson agrees with it. The issue apparently is this. During the Biden years, in the wake of COVID, there were subsidies that were added on, so people who were on Obamacare got more money to pay for the extra medical care they had to have during COVID. The Republicans want to get rid of those subsidies because they say those subsidies were also given, have also been given, continue to be given to people who are in the country illegally. So they want to get rid of those subsidies because, as Vice President Vance said, it means billions of dollars of taxpayers' money going to people who are in the country illegally, which they should not be getting that kind of subsidization. Now, what we're hearing this morning is that despite the votes that you've been seeing, which have come up short for the Republicans, there are negotiations going on in the chairs off the main floor.
Okay.
And one rumor is that the two parties would agree to extend those subsidies for one more year. So that would be a compromise by the Republicans. In return, the Democrats would have to agree to end those subsidies 1 year from now.
Okay. You're talking about when you say subsidies, you're talking about funding medical care or insurance. Do you know how that works for people who are here illegally?
Yes.
Do they apply for? Do you know how this process works?
Well, Obamacare and the Democrats have been able to wrangle something through that says, even if you're in the country illegally, say somebody shows up at one of these medical clinics that we see all over the cities. They have to go in and they've got an Obamacare card.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Even if they're here illegally.
Yes. They have an Obamacare card.
Okay.
And, I don't feel well.
Okay.
I'd like to see a doctor. I'd like to see a nurse.
Okay.
They are taken care of.
Somebody has to pay for that.
Somebody has to pay for that. All right.
And Republicans are saying that shouldn't be on the U.S. taxpayer.
That is correct.
The Democrats saying yes, it should.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the Democrats are kind of arguing, no, we're not. We're not giving, but they are. And the J.D. Vance yesterday, I think it was, explained that it works through various government pipelines that these medical clinics are reimbursed for that service.
Okay.
With taxpayers' money.
All right. So go ahead.
Well, I want to play a clip here of Caroline Leavitt, and the reason I want to play this is because news outlets, like a lot of news outlets, they're trying to find the things that maybe would negatively impact people or should concern people in moments like a government shutdown. Case in point, the U.S. edition of the Daily Mail yesterday had a story that says millions at risk of stroke and heart attack as government shutdown shutters key medical services. In this soundbite that I'm about to play from Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary talks about how Democrats care more about illegals than they do Americans. Clip 5.
The Democrats refuse to keep the government open over health care to illegal aliens and now have jeopardized critical health care programs for American citizens instead. The Women, Infants, and Children program, community health center funding, Medicare treatment options, and other health programs are now all at risk because of the Democrats rejecting the clean CR. The most vulnerable in our country are being punished because the Democrats want to prioritize illegals over American citizens.
Another thing to point out, she talks about that clean CR. I don't have this soundbite because we had a lot of soundbites and I had to get rid of something. But trust me, I'm a journalist. Okay. Yesterday, Leavitt said that Democrats have rejected something they voted in favor of time and time and time again in moments like a government shutdown or a CR situation. So they are rejecting what they have already agreed to in the past.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens there. Government shutdown going on 2 days now.
Yeah, it's very interesting. This morning, the Washington Post had an editorial, and we reported this during our morning newscast. They had an editorial that, and the Washington Post, very liberal, they say the Democrats have walked into a trap.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now...
That isn't the first time I've heard that with Trump. You walk into his trap.
He's pretty
good at setting them, isn't he?
Yeah, like now, he apparently is meeting with Russell Vought, who is the Office of...
Management and Budget,
to look at areas because it's shut down. it gives Trump the power to make a whole bunch of cuts.
Right.
And so they're meeting to go through the list of departments to
Right.
see where we can cut. One of the things that was announced yesterday is that Trump has decided not to give New York City $18 billion that they wanted to use to build a second tunnel.
B? With a B?
Yes, $18
Okay.
billion
Okay.
to build a second tunnel connecting New York City to New Jersey. So he can do that now that the government is shut down.
Oh, he has that authority.
He has
Okay.
that authority. That's why the Washington Post is saying, you've done something very dumb, Democrats.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens there with the federal government shutdown. My guess is that, like they always do, they'll get it resolved within probably the next 24 hours or so.
Yep.
Because none of the congressmen or senators wants to go back home and face the voting public on why the services have been shut. Some of the services that they count on have been
shut down.
Yep. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues. Chris, I just, as much as I just can't get enough of federal government shutdown talk, I know I speak for Ray and Fred. We would like to continue on with this for the next half hour or so with just more examples. But we're going to have to move on to another story.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, there is an update to something we've been covering. As a matter of fact, right now, police in Manchester, England, the UK, they have labeled an attack on a synagogue yesterday as an act of terrorism. You can find this story on afn.net. At least 2 people were killed, 3 others seriously wounded Thursday, and again, what police are calling a terrorist attack on a synagogue in northern England. This occurred on the holiest day of the Jewish year, otherwise known as Yom Kippur. The suspect is also believed to be dead after being shot by officers, but that could not immediately be confirmed by the Associated Press because of concerns that he had an explosive on him. The incident took place again on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement and most solemn day on the Jewish calendar.
Listen, it's a frightening time around the world to be a Jewish person.
Yes.
Because the attacks come, from all directions, and you don't feel like you're safe anywhere. I remember hearing a Jewish fellow talk about this a few months back. He said that we feel like we're being hunted.
Yeah.
So it's anti-Semitism is global.
Can you imagine the frame of mind of an attacker who chooses Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, the high holy day, the holiest day on the Jewish calendar, to attack a synagogue?
Right.
It takes a mind twisted and filled with hate. Somebody so far gone in radical Islamist ideology, they really don't care. They actually think they're serving God by attacking a Jewish synagogue. Your friend who said that to you, Tim, I feel like we're being hunted. You can understand today why Jews around the world would feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
These are strange and, I think, very dangerous days.
Mm-hmm. All right, Chris. So 2 dead?
Yes, at least 2 dead, 3 others injured.
And we hear reports that synagogues, because today is this high holy day, synagogues around the country that are celebrating
on
Yom
high alert.
Kippur are on high alert. They've taken, I was listening to some of the Fox hosts this morning who said they, on their way to work, they drive by a synagogue, and one synagogue there in New York, they've put huge, large stones up in front of the entry to block something like this, a guy trying to drive a vehicle through.
Right.
So that's happening. So be praying for our Jewish friends today. They're on high alert to try to protect themselves even while they're celebrating this very holy day.
You said, Ray, Yom Kippur.
Right, the Day of Atonement.
Day of Atonement is the number one holy day for Jews.
Well, it's the day in the Old Testament when the high priest went into the Holy of Holies. It's the day in the Old Testament when the sins of the people were placed on the scapegoat and released into the wilderness. It's the day in which they enacted the rite of redemption. And so today there are no animal sacrifices in Judaism. Temple is long gone, but it is still for our Jewish friends around the world. It's a day of solemn remembrance, and it's a day of confession. It should be a day of repentance. So, yes, it's a very, very holy day, particularly terrible time. Let's say it this way. Whoever did this guy who's been killed, who did the attack, he knew what he was doing. Yeah. He didn't pick this day at random.
Yeah.
Well, as you say, Fred, we need to remember and be in prayer for our Jewish friends who are, as you say, they're worried today. There's going to be attacks other places because of what Ray just mentioned, the celebration of Yom Kippur at synagogues in the U.S. and around the world. All right, next story, Chris.
All right, there has been some concern in the last few weeks, at least, that some of the people on the U.S. driving big rigs or 18-wheelers are illegally driving those big rigs and 18-wheelers. Oklahoma caught wind of this, and Governor Kevin Stitt and the head of the Oklahoma State Police or Highway Patrol decided they were going to do a sting on I-40, and they were going to pull people over and check licenses. Not only did Oklahoma find that a lot of illegal immigrants were driving through Oklahoma and I-40, but a lot of people driving big rigs on I-40 are illegally driving those, some of them with false or illegal CDLs. Yes.
Who are we about to hear from?
Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt.
Okay.
Clip 15.
To us, it's pretty simple. We're just going to enforce the law. And until drive on roads in Oklahoma, you've got to be able to read and understand English, especially the people driving 18-wheelers. So when he told me that he pulled over 520 vehicles at one of our checkpoints as an operation, and over close to 25% of these drivers were illegally driving. They were from China, Russia, Venezuela. It is unbelievable. And these aren't people that are here legally with a legal CDL. They had overstayed their visa. They had illegally obtained this CDL. And they're just violating the intent of the law and the absolute law. The one person that we posted on from New York had literally been detained at the southern border, crossing illegal in 2023, and then was just released. It was a catch and release type deal, and they showed up in New York and got their CDL license, and you saw that. It had no given name, and I'm not trying to call anybody out. I think the American people need to understand this is a problem, and we have to be a law and order state and a law and order country.
CDL, is that commercial driver's license?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, so the governor of Oklahoma authorized this sting operation, basically. So do you know if he closed down I-40?
I believe.
Or it's like a checkpoint like you would see on a regular road sometimes?
I think it was a checkpoint. It was called Operation Guardian.
So then you got people backed up, for a long way.
These could have been done at the scales, which necessitate 18-wheelers.
Truck stop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what he's saying is 20% of those who
over 500 they check. So we're talking about over 100 were found to be in this country illegally
driving trucks on our interstates.
As the governor mentioned, one CDL they checked didn't even have the name of the driver on it.
Yeah.
And that was New York, I think, issued that.
I have an answer to your question.
Okay, answer my question.
Operation Guardian on I-40 was both traffic stops and inspections at way stations.
Yeah, because all trucks got to stop at way stations. Of course, I bet they don't have to throw their driver's license. They probably just have to get on the scale and then wave them on through, right?
Yeah.
Instead of that. Well, that's shocking. 20% aren't U.S. citizens driving trucks.
And it's scary. A lot of these guys cannot speak English, cannot read English.
That's what happened down in Florida, don't you remember? The guy tried to turn around on the turnpike.
Yeah.
And somebody ran into his back end of his truck, killed him, and then they discovered that he wasn't even a U.S. citizen, couldn't speak English.
That's right.
Well, good for the governor of Oklahoma for doing that. All right, we'll be back momentarily with more of today's issues. Stay with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
Some time ago, Reader's Digest carried a story entitled Children's Letters to God. It's an interesting article. It contained actual letters that children had written to God. I want to share some of them with you. One went like this. Dear Mr. God, how do you feel about people who don't believe in you? Somebody else wants to know. A friend, Neil. And then there's another one that read simply, Dear God, What's it like when you die? Nobody will tell me. I just want to know. I don't want to do it. Your friend Mike. And a youngster named Frank wrote this one. Dear God, I saw St. Patrick Church last week. You live in a nice house. Or take the one written by little Maria. Dear God, do you get your angels to do all the work? Mommy says we're her angels, and we have to do everything. Well, Barry wrote, Dear God, church is all right, but you could sure use better music. I hope this does not hurt your feeling. Can you write some new songs? Your friend Barry. Reading over those simple letters from children addressed to the deity reminds one of the scene one day when the master took a little child and set him in his lap and said that the greatest in heaven would be like the little child. I'm quite sure that the great carpenter knew fully what he was doing and saying that day. And his wisdom is evident in the letters of these children. For instance, how does God feel about people who don't believe in him? A good answer would be heartbroken. Or again, what is it like when you die? I guess that kind of depends on where you go. And despite the misconception, God does live in a nice house, a house not made by hands. And to answer Maria, no, God doesn't use his angels to do his work. He uses his servants here on earth, and sometimes it doesn't get done. And about the music, sometimes I have to agree with Barry. It's kind of off-key, and it appears we need some new songs. We need more of this childlike faith in all its simplicity, too. They do not question the existence of God, and they refer to him in a polite manner with due respect. They're not worried about all the great theological and doctrinal questions we adults are. They simply believe in God and believe he loves them. And the greatest quality they have is their humility. Listen to this letter written by little Maxine. O Lord, thank you for giving me my dad and mother, and these children, and dog and fish. Thank you for giving us the nice world to live in, and eyes to see it, and what we eat and brains to think. Thank you for everything. Love, Maxine. That letter's a beautiful prayer, isn't it? Sometimes I have a feeling that God would like more letters like that one. Not only would he like for us to write that way, but more important, he would like for us to live that way. Whoever humbles himself like this child, he is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Pray for childlike faith.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
Hey, have you considered becoming a Great Commission partner? If you do, you'll be joining others who believe like you and are determined to defend against those who want to destroy God's institution of the family. You'll also receive some great benefits, like full access to AFA Stream, a monthly subscription to our magazine, access to exclusive donor events, and more as our thanks for your support. Please stop by afr.net/donate today for all the details. afr.net/donate.
In him we were also chosen as God's own, having been predestined according to the plan of him who works out everything by the counsel of his will, in order that we, who were the first to hope in Christ, would be for the praise of his glory. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 11 and 12.
American Family Radio. This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. I'm Tim with Fred and Chris and Ray. If you want to be on a co-host of this show, you need to apply. You need to have a one-word syllable name, right?
Yes.
Fred, Chris, Tim, and Ray.
No Alphonse.
Well, Wesley's here on Tuesdays and no who?
No Alphonse.
What is that?
Alphonse. Just a name.
Is that a Canadian word?
Oh, yeah.
Alphonse.
Alphonse.
Yeah.
Alphonse.
Yeah.
Alf.
I just wonder where you came up with that.
We could call him Alf.
Alf.
Yes.
Well, that was a TV show in the 80s.
That's
You remember that?
Oh, yes.
I actually had Alf Valentine's cards when I was in kindergarten.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Random story.
How did that change your life, Chris?
I didn't get the girl, but I turned out better because I later met my wife, and we've been married for 20 years, going on forever.
Boy, there's a life story for you.
So it all worked out.
Yeah, see? You have to have the patience of Job.
There you go.
As they say, moving right along. We have our friend Sandy Rios with us. Sandy from the podcast Sandy Rios 24/7. And Sandy, of course, served as our morning host on the show for 10 years on American Family Radio. And she joins us now. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, Tim and everybody.
Thanks for being on with us. What's up with you and Bruce now? What y'all been up to?
Well, we were in Boston for a big meeting, thanks to you, Tim, and that was very interesting. We did a lot of touring, too. And so, I mean, those sites never get old, and you know, because you go to Washington every year. But that Boston, New England area, it's just invigorating. And, you know, so then we also went into New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Maine, what a beautiful country we have. And the thing I noticed, Tim, was that people are happy. Now, there are exceptions, but you remember for a couple of years there around COVID, people weren't laughing. They were glum. They'd do furtive glances. They would make eye contact everywhere. And I think people are returning to a normalcy, which I felt really refreshing.
Good. That's good to know. I didn't know how, I know Fred's from north of New England. I didn't know how normal people were in that part of the world. And I'm sure they would think the same about us. But listen, I visited there last summer, and Alice and I went up for our 40th anniversary visit to the greater Boston area. That's all we had time for, but we went to the history is unmatched. I mean, maybe Virginia, right?
Yeah.
And maybe Philadelphia in terms of early American history, but it's quite a remarkable place to see. And
absolutely.
We
loved it.
We loved it too. We took a boat ride out on the Boston Harbor. Mm-hmm. Allison ate lobster, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Was that up in Gloucester?
She loves lobster. Huh?
Was it in Gloucester?
We did go to Gloucester, and that's a little fishing village.
Yep. On the North Shore, as they say.
I couldn't talk like them, but we walked out to a lighthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about vintage, classic New England. That's what we wanted to experience, and we did.
Nice.
While we were there, and do what we do want to go back and go to those places you mentioned. Maybe drive up to Fred's home area there in Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia.
How far is that from Maine?
Not that far, actually.
Okay.
You have to drive through New Brunswick. To get to Nova Scotia. Yeah. And this is a great time of the year to go.
All right, Sandy. What? Let's see. What are our topics for today? You go ahead and talk about what you want to talk about.
Well, it's been a blockbuster week. I mean, there's so much going on, Tim. I think it's impossible for, one person to keep track of it, but I'm sure trying. Tuesday, this meeting with generals with Pete Hegseth, just bringing them all in from all over the world. They're grumbling, complaining about how much money it's costing. When the Pentagon spends more money, wastes more money, really, and has for decades, it's become what they call the military-industrial complex. So they're so worried about money, but they all came in, and then Pete just really I challenged them. I guess let them have it would be true, but also just laid it on the line. And I think they're so pompous, and they, most of them didn't want Pete. I mean, there's this very culture that's very full of hubris. And then I thought that when he said there'll be no more, dudes in dresses, and there'll be no more fat generals in the halls of the Pentagon or fat soldiers, I felt that was actually, as funny as it was, that was, especially the weight thing, was something that really actually reduced them to where they should be. Kind of a moment of, oh my gosh, even if they don't say it, kind of embarrassment. And I thought that was brilliant. And of course, it's important. We can't have a fat army, a fat navy, we can't have that. Look at Lloyd Austin, how heavy he was. This has gotten out of control. They're not fit. And we look at the Chinese army, the even the North Koreans, they are reloaded and ready for war. And so here we are, fat and lazy, and he's changing that. And I'm glad.
Yeah, Pete Hegseth. Fred, would you?
Well, my son-in-law was in the military for a while, and he was a drill sergeant. And our Secretary of War addressed that the other day, because what happened, the standards were really lowered for the recruits coming in. Sandy, when you mentioned the physical requirements, and what the Biden administration did was set up kind of a semi-boot camp for the fat people wanting to get into the military, to give them some time to lose some weight so that they could get through boot camp. Now, that's what Biden did.
Yeah. It's and also the standards started being lowering during the Obama years and even maybe the Clinton years. One other issue on this, I did a long interview with Elaine Donnelly. Elaine is the founder of the Center for Military Readiness, and she and I have been friends for years. And she was part of this DACOWITS, and I haven't got time to explain all of it. It's a committee that started like 70 years ago to address women's issues in the military. And it was a good reason initially. But Elaine served on this and through the years has been, the watchman on the wall. And this is the thing, DACOWITS, which has ushered in, they want abortion on the bases. They want women to be in combat. They want all of the things. They push transgender rights, hormones. They've pushed all of this. They are gone. They are gone. They are gone. And that is absolutely fabulous, and that's because of Pete. Because feminists have gotten such a foothold in the Pentagon, and normally, and you guys will understand this, that normally like macho guys are scared of them. So I think like 98% of the things they've recommended through the years have been accepted, and so this is it. No more dudes in skirts.
Yeah, and Sandy, to the greater point here is what happened when President Trump was elected, and then the recruitment numbers for the military started to go way, way up as compared to the military recruitment levels under Biden, which were really scary low because for some of the reasons that Pete Hegseth has brought out in his talk the other day. I think and then the generational recruitment, families who've served in the military, the grandfather did, the father did, and the son did, and those people were telling their sons, no.
That's right. Don't go.
Don't go. No, it's a different military. It's the woke military. Well, with the election of President Trump and then Pete Hegseth going in as Secretary of Defense, what is it called? War Secretary now?
Secretary of War.
Yeah, all that has changed, and our recruitment numbers, I haven't seen the latest ones, but have been way, way up.
That's for sure.
Hey, Tim, we need to make a personal reference too before we leave this topic, because the military, it isn't just fatness or wokeness or transgenderism. As you well know, back in, I believe 2013, that comes to my head, Fort Hood had this horrible shooting, this Muslim military doctor killed a number of our soldiers, and they were disarmed on the base. And so I, at the time, was doing the morning show, and I had a lot of people listening from Fort Hood. And they would call in, and one was a photographer, and they would not identify themselves, but they gave me a ton of information about what was happening on that. And I don't know if that's connected, but I believe it is, because the military under Obama started identifying American Family Association as a hate group and making their troops stop calling me, and not just me, but having anything to do with AFA. They actually used slides of American Family Association in training. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, I remember that. And what happened was all the federal agencies, including the military, were using the Southern Poverty Law Center's hate group list as absolute truth. And we know that the Southern Poverty Law Center, that's the far left organization, they put out a hate group list every year, and we're always on it. We've been honored to be just an annual participant there. But I'm being facetious, obviously, but the federal government at the time under Obama was using this far left definition of what is a hate group, and we were on it. So when the military and also highway patrolmen were having to use this, some places we'd learned.
It was in the Pentagon. It was at the FBI. It was everywhere.
FBI,
and if I could make another point, before we physically left D.C. in 2016, there were like Pride days at the Pentagon, of course. And there were men. They would have these shows with men wearing high heels, soldiers wearing high heels. I saw at Camp Pendleton, the Marine base, this guy in the chow line in hose and high heels and a short skirt. This is where we were. This is
Right.
why what Pete did on Tuesday is so important. Those days are over, thank God.
Amen. You're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Well, Sandy, what are you going to be doing this week on your podcast, covering these issues we've talked about here?
Yes, we did one on Pete right away with Elaine Donnelly on Tuesday.
Okay.
Yesterday, this is some subject we probably can't get into, but there was another hearing on Tuesday about how the TSA and other agencies have made these lists that people get on J6ers, also Tulsi Gabbard, Catholic parents, I'm getting a generality. Whole swaths of people were placed on these no-fly lists or had extra scrutiny. And so there was a hearing on that. Now, it hasn't been solved yet, except the TSA particular program has, but that happened this week too. And, I just have so much. Could I talk about the shutdown for a second? All right, so...
Well, you talking about the federal government shutdown?
Yes.
Thank you, because we were saying earlier in the program, we just can't talk about this enough. And we were running out of time, and we just thank you for bringing it back up. You go right ahead.
All right. Well, let me tell you about a person, because I was concerned when Elon Musk left because he was being so effective. But there's a person in place who has been Elon Musk before Elon. His name is Russ Vought. He's the director of the Office of Management and Budget. And let me just tell you personally, Russ is a graduate of Wheaton College, a very strong Christian. I've known him for years. He is a wunderkind. He's right now wearing 3 different hats. He runs that budget office. He's the director of the Consumer Protection Bureau, and he's running USAID. Now, the reason I mention Russ is because I'll give you an example of the kinds of things that Russ is doing. You may recall that the regulations, especially under Obama and then Biden, got so out of hand in these various agencies that people were being criminally prosecuted for having ponds on their land and not the wetlands rules and all of that. It was a nightmare. So President Trump ordered those rules and regulations to be systematically gone through in every department. Well, Russ did that during his first time. What they shot for was to eliminate 2 rules for every one. Well, guess what? Right now, they are eliminating these ridiculous rules at a rate of 30 to 1. They're saving billions in our government and just taking the handcuffs off of Americans. And it has to do with EPA emissions and cars and electric vehicles and utilities and all of that. But the other thing is that during this shutdown, Russ has a plan. And the Democrats are having a fit. He's announced a couple of things that you may not have heard or may have. They have now halted $18 billion to New York City for infrastructure because of their DEI in hiring positions. So New York is going apoplectic, and so they're doing that. They've also cut $8 billion in green new scam funding in a bunch of states, and they're all like California, Colorado, and I could go on and on. There's a bunch of them. So that's being done too. They're also going to. They're going to be firing a ton of people. People are going to be let go. I'm not prepared to explain that to you because I've got to read more about it myself. Mm-hmm. But we are expecting tons of government workers to just be disappeared and on the payroll during this shutdown. And I also think, and again, I can't confirm this either, but I think there are going to be a lot of appointments during this shutdown. So this is a great gift.
It could be a good thing.
Oh, it's a good thing. They're just not saying that. I'm just telling you. They're not bragging about that because it is true that the Democrats are responsible for this shutdown, and they have always used those shutdowns to blame the Republicans for shutting down the government. So the whole script has flipped. And have you seen the meme of Joaquin Jeffries in the hat with the mustache?
The sombrero?
Yes, sombrero. Yes.
Yeah, it's like a greeter at a Mexican restaurant there.
Yeah, with the President Trump doing a mariachi band behind him.
Yeah, that was funny.
It's masterful.
Absolutely. So Russell Vought is a name, we don't say this often, but I would say people need to pray for him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember
in particular because this is a critical role in the Trump administration.
Oh, absolutely.
The Office of Management and Budget, and as you say, he's doing a lot of hard work to downsize the federal government size.
Yeah. Remember the exchange when he was first nominated for that job? He came before that Senate panel. Bernie Sanders went at him about his Christian beliefs. I don't know.
I remember that.
Yes.
I remember that.
Oh, that was nasty. That was just really nasty.
Basically told him you're unqualified. I'm paraphrasing now, but I almost got it exactly right. Bernie Sanders told him, because of your Christian beliefs, you're unfit to be
right.
To have a role.
Yes.
I'm pulling up the quote for you here.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what Bernie Sanders said.
Sandy, to your point, that may explain why the Washington Post apparently this morning has an editorial that says the Democrats have walked into a trap. That's the way they put it.
I feel really sad about that.
Yeah.
I want to tell you who else is working with Russ. Do you remember? I know you do. I'm going to kind of slow walk it here. The Justice Department official who was apprehended on his driveway in his underwear one morning while he was pulling out of his home in Virginia in his underwear. And so there were these photos. He had his white shirt on in his underwear, and they were raiding his house. He was the one executive in the Department of Justice that tried to do what was right on the 2020 voting. He tried to encourage people to actually investigate these things that were coming up in the Justice Department, and he became a piranha. I mean, they just hated him. So this was harassment and humiliation. They're trying to take away his law license in the District of Columbia. I mean, he, like John Eastman, has really been through heck, and he also is a very strong Christian. And I would also add, because I think this is cool, maybe it's self-serving, but I'm just proud of it. Jeff listens to my show. He used to listen all the time. Jeff Clark is working with Russ, and they're just knocking it out of the ballpark. They have unleashed monsters, and I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. And by the way, a lot of these FBI whistleblowers are being restored. Those IRS whistleblowers that blew on the big guy and Hunter, they are actually running the IRS now. They're actually running. They don't have the official titles, but they're running the IRS.
How the tables have turned.
Yes, I know. I'm excited. I really am.
We can tell. Yeah. No, you're more beyond excited. You're giddy.
Yeah. When have we ever?
I know.
God is so good, Tim.
Amen.
We have for so many years, I think, felt just hopeless. And every conversation was hopeless. It's more and more bad news, and lives are at stake, as we all know.
Yeah.
And so our health, everything, our safety. And so to continue to have, and I lay it all at the feet of God. I just think God is having mercy on us, as we saw at Charlie's service.
Mm-hmm.
All of these leaders that we have now, not all of them, but many of them are just strong believers in the Lord Jesus, bold and courageous. And there's a lot more whose names you don't know serving with the president. And so this is a time of rejoicing and a time for us to rise up and find our own courage to fight in our own sphere, to restore things to the way they should be, with God in the center and his laws honored and our people self-controlled and not out of control.
Amen. We're talking to Sandy Rios, host of Sandy Rios 24/7. Now, it's the podcast. If you want to get Sandy's podcast, where she talks about the matters like we've been discussing for the last little while here, and listen, she interviews movers and shakers, go to our website, afr.net. afr.net, click on podcast, and you'll see the banner for Sandy Rios 24/7. You can listen to some of her previous podcast, or just sign up there to when Sandy releases a new podcast, you'll be notified and be able to listen to her reports and her interviews and her analysis. All right, Sandy, thanks so much for being on with us. Tell Bruce we said hello.
I will, absolutely. I will.
And
been more firings at the FBI too, by the way. Lots of them.
Okay, and you're excited about that too?
Yes, they're cleaning house. They're just cleaning house. It's amazing. Happy, happy, happy.
Okay, well, maybe we'll have Bruce on next time to talk about that. We will.
You should. Okay.
We'll get it. Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate it.
Okay, my pleasure. Love you guys.
Okay,
Talk
love
to
you
soon.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow. I'm ready to go.
I
Fred.
tell you what.
Sandy's, huh? She's, I used to call Sandy Debbie Downer. Because she'd come on here and we'd do interviews, and I'd be excited about something. And she'd say, "Yeah, but Ray." Sandy was Debbie Downer. Now she's
but now she is up and ready to go and
excited Ellen. I don't know. I'm trying to get a right there.
Kick
I don't know.
it off.
Made up
Let's
that.
go. And
yeah, let's
hey,
go.
I like the idea that these whistleblowers have been restored.
Yes.
We've got some honorable people heading up the IRS. This is wonderful news.
Yeah, absolutely. You're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. You know, the last presidential election, we say this about every presidential election because at the moment it is true. You can make a case for it, but it's the most important election in a long, long time. Let's say the election I'm saying was the most important presidential election in a long, long time, because had the United States of America chosen to go with Kamala Harris and the far left Democrat Party, I mean, it would have, to me, it would have, I don't know, it would have symbolized just the end of our country as we've known it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I look back, remember going back 1979, hostages being held in Iran.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter up for re-election.
Right.
That was a God thing.
Yeah.
How that all worked out.
And then Ronald Reagan was elected. In this last election, Joe Biden goes out, tries to debate Donald Trump. Right.
It's an absolute disaster.
Right.
It's getting late in the game.
Right.
So they go with Kamala Harris.
Right.
I mean, it's just God's hand had to be in that.
Yeah, and we know what happened. You know, and President Trump also won the popular vote, which I think was very significant.
First time in 20 years that a Republican has won the popular vote.
Yeah, so that he won the popular vote, and obviously he won the Electoral College. Listen, you know, President Trump, you know, I say he's good Trump, bad Trump. His bad Trump, the time, Ray, that he has a bad Trump, it's mostly something dumb he says.
That's right. That's right.
Or something, some kind of an action that he takes that is just like going, what?
You can get good Trump and bad Trump back to back, right?
You get, the same day.
The same interview, right?
Yes. But as Wesley, my son, points out, and as Sandy would point out, on whole, President Trump's policies and the people that he has in his administration, on whole, are excellent. And they're very good for our country, the policies. I read the other day where these tariffs that he initiated, and this was being acknowledged by liberal news publications, that everybody thought, and who knew? I didn't know anything about tariffs, so I thought, well, is this going to lead to some kind of trade war that's going to be disastrous for us? Well, it hasn't. At least yet, and it's bringing in a ton of money to our country. Did you guys see this?
Oh, yeah. It goes to show you that you shouldn't believe everything somebody on the television tells you.
Right. Yeah. No, the left-wing media.
You mean not everything on the internet is true?
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Shocking.
Wow.
So anyway, listen, President Trump is not perfect. Now, don't tell him that, but...
If you did, he wouldn't believe you.
If you did, he wouldn't believe you. But the man has done, as I say, if you're just going to grade him out, not day to day and some of the dumb getting into it with Rosie O'Donnell and stuff like that. I'm talking about just policy and how he's handled the presidency. You got to give him a 9 out of 10, I think.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Don't you?
Especially coming off the 4 years that he experienced under Biden.
Right. We'll be back momentarily with more of Today's Issues. Steve Paisley Jordahl will be with us in a few minutes.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
If God could speak, what would he say? The Bible subjects itself to historical verification.
He says, we saw this.
We go to the Bible wanting to hear what the living God has to say to us.
When God speaks, what does he say?
The God who speaks. Visit stream.afa.net. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The government shut down in its second day as lawmakers remain deadlocked. Republicans are accusing the Democrats of holding up the talks as Democrats demand an extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies that are set to expire. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt blames the shutdown on Democrats, saying they are trying to undo the president's spending cuts.
Tens of millions of Americans across the country voted him back to this beautiful White House to implement that promise, and he did. And now Democrats want to undo it, and they are holding our country hostage. They are holding the American people hostage.
President Trump writing on Truth Social Wednesday he plans to talk with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping about trying to get China to purchase more U.S. soybeans and other crops in their upcoming discussions in a few weeks. The president accusing China of not buying soybeans in order to exert pressure on U.S. farmers. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says President Trump is committed to ensuring the U.S. is treated fairly on the world stage.
He is unwilling to let any of this slide. So yesterday was another marker, I think a line in the sand, if you will, that China needs to stop playing games and that we've got to move forward. And they need our product. It isn't that, they're sitting there with their bins full. They need our product.
Former Chicago mayor and Democrat strategist Rahm Emanuel has called for a reset in education, urging a renewed focus on core classroom issues like math and reading scores. He has argued that the Democratic Party has become distracted by social issues and identity politics. New York Post columnist Miranda Devine says she agrees with what Emanuel is saying, but she has a problem with what he is not talking about.
He hasn't really pinpointed the prime problem for public schools in this country, and that's the teacher unions. And Randy Weingarten, who has run those unions in one way or another for 3 decades, is running around promoting a book about fascists, which of course she means Donald Trump.
That's right.
And she is wearing a paperclip on her lapel as some sort of symbol against fascism. But she does not mention a word about the historic lows that children in this country are suffering in their education progress. And if you have 65% of children are graduating from school without knowing how to read, they are being consigned to a life on the margins. And, Chicago is one of the worst. So is it any wonder that gang violence in Chicago is through the roof?
We need to be a law and order state and law and order country. That's what the governor of Oklahoma said after authorities found many illegal aliens driving 18-wheelers. Chris Woodward has more.
During an effort on Interstate 40 known as Operation Guardian, Oklahoma State police officers encountered more than 500 people and turned 120 over to ICE. Some of the offenders had unverifiable licenses for the big rigs they were driving. Governor Kevin Stitt told Fox News Channel that you cannot do this in Oklahoma.
To drive on roads in Oklahoma, you've got to be able to read and understand English, especially the people driving 18-wheelers. So when he told me that he pulled over 520 vehicles at one of our checkpoints as an operation, and over close to 25% of these drivers were illegally driving. They were from China, Russia, Venezuela.
Stitt said these are not people here legally with a legal CDL, rather people that had overstayed their visas and or illegally obtained their CDL.
One person that we posted on from New York had literally been detained at the southern border, crossing illegal in 2023, and then was just released. It was a catch and release type deal, and they showed up in New York and got their CDL license, and you saw that. It had no given name, and I'm not trying to call anybody out. I think the American people need to understand this is a problem, and we have to be a law and order state and a law and order country.
I'm Chris Woodward.
British police have declared that a deadly rampage at a synagogue that killed 2 people on the holiest day of the Jewish year was a terrorist attack. The Metropolitan Police spokesman said the assailant was killed by officers and 2 other suspects were arrested. More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Some Christians wonder if boycotting businesses is really biblical, and that's a fair question. Ed Vitagliano and M.D. Perkins address that subject in depth in the AFA Cultural Institute video, Stewardship in Action, The Power of the Boycott. They share the purpose of boycotts and show how they can impact the culture. We're giving that DVD to you free as our thanks for supporting AFA this month. Go to afa.net today for more details. afa.net.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. I'm Tim Wildman with Fred Jackson. Now Steve Paisley-Jordahl joins us. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
And Ed's not here today. Ray's here today. Ray's joining us from Kansas City. Wait, I didn't check on the weather there. What do you got outside?
Oh, it's let me tell you, it's
beautiful.
It's 79 degrees, heading up to 85.
Okay.
And
Indian summer there, right?
Indian summer.
Yeah.
Beautiful weather here in early October.
Going bike riding this afternoon?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
I've got another appointment, but I'm trying to think. Can I squeeze it in?
How far do you ride? You said.
Oh, about 15 miles.
Wow.
Something like that.
What, 4 or 5 times a week? I know you had to take a break when you got.
When I was doing the cancer treatment.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's what keeps me sane, or as close to sane as I ever get.
Yeah. What is it about a bike ride? Is it like I know when I used to mow the yard.
Getting outside
and just relaxing your mind.
And, you're pedaling along,
and
the scenery is changing.
Yeah.
And it's just
therapeutic.
It's therapeutic. Your troubles begin to melt away.
Sounds too much like exercise to me.
Well, there is that.
All right, there's that part. It does have other benefits. You can get your heart rate up and do some cardio and those kinds of things. Exercise your muscles and all right. So, Steve, I love that shirt.
Thank you.
How long you had that one? Did I ask you about this before?
No, this is new. I got this came in the mail 2 days ago.
Man, it's you call it like a royal purple
It's a
paisley?
purple paisley shirt.
Yeah.
I
King of France over there, man.
Could be. I got 2 others coming too. I realized that my paisley stock was getting old and worn.
You need to come up with a brand so you can sell them or something.
Well, we
like
talked
that.
about it. I don't know if you ever got. I've never checked, but somebody. I think it was either Tony or Ed or somebody made the suggestion that people should write in if we should have some AFA shirts that are paisley.
I got a slogan for you.
What's that?
For your hats and other materials, make paisley great again.
Make paisley great again.
Ooh, I like it.
Don't you like that, Ray?
I want one of those ball caps,
MPGA.
Haga.
Doesn't really
no.
MPGA.
Make paisley.
MP.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work. I don't even think that's anyway. All right, so lot to talk. What was I?
I'm working on MAPGA, right?
Yeah, something. We got something like that.
Make American paisley great.
Yeah.
Again,
something. We're gonna have to work on that branding and messaging right there. But by the way, guys, the Major League Baseball playoffs are going on.
Yeah.
You aware of this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching some of it. My team, the St. Louis Cardinals, didn't make the playoffs and haven't in quite some time.
That's mine.
Mine. What's your team?
Oakland A's.
Oakland A's, yeah. But the Major League playoffs are going on, and last night there was a player for the San Diego Padres. You got that story?
I'm just looking at the box score of the game.
Well, this guy, that's not the box score I want to talk about. This guy's a pitcher for them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this, Ray?
Oh, I did too. That's the highest speed ever found in a major league playoff game, something like that, something unbelievable.
104.5.
What?
104.5 miles an hour.
Yeah, 104. The pitcher. Now, keep in mind, he doesn't have a bionic arm that we're aware of. Maybe they need to do bionic arm testing. I don't know. Like they do drug testing. But what was his name?
I'm looking it up.
Give him credit. Anyway, I just thought 104 plus.
Mason Miller.
Okay, Mason Miller. He's Mr. Miss Miller's son, right?
Yeah, he would be.
That'd be the one.
He 104
for the San Diego Millers.
That's right.
Was it 104.6?
5
miles an hour.
Oh, no.
And some other player for the Cincinnati Reds, Chapman was his name.
Yeah,
3 or 4 years ago. I think he threw 104. But the point is, this was the fastest pitch ever recorded in human history.
That's what they say.
Last night.
Oh, wow.
And I saw it. I saw him throw, and of course, I say I saw it. You can't see it, okay? But I thought to myself, maybe we're going to reach the point, because there's a few other guys that are, touching 100. I don't know if we're going to reach the point where baseball players can't hit because they can't see the ball at all. I don't know.
They've already.
I hope you don't get to that point.
They've already got tenths, hundredths of seconds in order to make a decision on whether to swing at a pitch or not. It's
the hardest thing in sports to do, they say,
without question,
is to hit a major league pitch, okay, and hit it successfully to get on base. That's why if you can get on base 3 out of 10 times with a hit, you can make millions of dollars. Okay.
Or that would.
That's why I'm taking my boy. My grandsons they're leaving school, and we're just going to do baseball every day.
That's right.
Surely somebody can hit 3 out of 10 that can make a lot of money for the fam.
So there is a little bit of debate, though, about whether or not this is the fastest ever, because they have changed over the years. They have changed the method of how fast you pitch. Back in the day, back like the Walter Johnson Cy Young days,
right?
It was a stopwatch, I believe. And I mean, I
back
don't know
in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, or the turn of the century, when they started doing this. But then,
how do we ever go back?
I don't
recorded.
know. Maybe Nolan Ryan days, they would use a speed gun. But there was a difference between where they measured the speed of the pitch. At one point, it was when it crossed the plate, and now it is like 4 feet or 2 feet in front of the pitcher's hand when it's released. And it loses a certain amount of speed as it makes its way to the plate.
Yeah.
So it's not the measuring standards.
Well, you're breaking this down, Steve.
I
didn't know we were going to get this kind of thorough analysis.
They have changed the way they measure speed, so it's not a consistent thing. They're not sure. Although, have you ever stood in one of those batting cages that let you choose the speed of it?
Yeah, I have.
And you ever stood in front of it they'll let you do a 90
mile
an hour?
This was when I was 15 years old. It said it was throwing 90. I don't know if it was. It was throwing so fast.
It was coming pretty quick.
I couldn't see it. What you do in that case, you just stick your bat out there and hope for the best. And if you do make contact, it's going over the fence because just sheer, energy there. All right, so nearly 105 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That would hurt if you got hit.
Oh, man, would that hurt.
I bet you even those major league players are scared to get up against 105 mile an hour.
That would hurt.
104, huh?
That would hurt.
That'd leave a mark.
Ooh.
Goodness gracious.
Leave a mark. All right. So what's your first story?
Well, one of the places you could look if you want to find out the history of 100-mile-an-hour pitches or just about anything else in the world is Wikipedia. Now, whether or not it's accurate, that's kind of up for debate. And in fact, we're hearing from the co-founder of Wikipedia, Larry Sanger, who's now 57. He co-founded the site in 2001 with a guy named Jimmy Wales. But he's a little disillusioned.
Outlaw Jimmy Wales?
Outlaw Jimmy Wales. He's a little disillusioned.
That went over a whole lot of it.
Oh, did it? Okay, well.
But still.
Either you got the joke or you didn't.
It's good. I got it. It's good.
He says that the site has been corrupted by woke ideology. And he's not happy, and he's given some tips for solutions.
Okay, so this was interesting to me. I found this story. So, Fred, this is Wikipedia is used by everybody, right? We either use it, we all use it, and we use it on a subject we want just the meat and potatoes.
Right.
Okay, we don't want to have to go searching the internet for it. We want the meat and potatoes, so we go to the Wikipedia page, which usually contains that. What this gentleman is saying here is what I've seen. We've seen it before on certain topics and people and causes. Is that Wikipedia has a liberal bias. And that's what this gentleman, who's the co-founder, is saying about the company he co-founded, and he said they can no longer be trusted. Basically, is what he's saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind when you go out and search things on the internet, and you start with Wikipedia, that they have a noticeable. This is what he says. What secular, liberal, or progressive?
Systemic bias is what he's calling it. So,
by the way, did you ever find out how this works exactly? The editing part of it?
Kind of. I did. I had a little bit. Yeah.
So tell our listeners how a Wikipedia page may be, how the content is developed, and how it can be edited.
Okay. There are some standards for what qualifies as a page.
Okay.
But anybody can be an editor.
Okay.
You just have to set up your own account, and then you can start editing. However, though the platform is volunteer run, and I'm reading this from Wikipedia, no, from the Daily Mail. Though the platform is volunteer run, just 62 accounts, they wield the most power and can appoint or remove administrators and oversee problem editors. Only 14.5% of those powerful editors use their real full names, which is a concern. But basically, what he is saying is these editors uphold an ideological systemic bias, which he has coined as GASP. It's globalist, academic, secular, and progressive. So if you want to be an editor, you can, but you have to work your way up through.
But does somebody, maybe you don't know the answer to this question, but okay, say you want to edit. I want to go on, and I know in the past we've been told that we can't edit the AFA Wikipedia page. I don't know who controls this. I mean, I don't know, who decides what's able to go on the page. You say anybody can be an editor, but
they must have gatekeepers.
Somebody's a gatekeeper. Somebody ultimately decides who they let to be an editor, right?
Yes.
And if that person is a activist, progressive person, they're going to have bias, and they're going to try to.
This is what ChatGPT. This is what I looked up.
Okay.
Who can be a Wikipedia editor? Anyone can do it. Here's how to get started. You have to create an account. While you can edit without an account, having one gives you more credibility and access. Then you have to learn the basics. Start by understanding Wikipedia's editing guidelines. It's supposed to be a neutral point of view. It has to be able to be verified, and you can't add your own opinions or unpublished your own research. It has to be a published source. It says start small by editing existing articles, fixing typos, and that kind of stuff. There's what they call a sandbox when you can practice editing. To participate in talk pages to discuss article changes, join the Wiki Projects page. And then you work your way up. What was it I was reading here? There's a handful of dominant views as consensus, typically those held by the most powerful editors, rather than reflecting a fair balance of many voices. These editors uphold this ideological system. That was what he called this GASP system. This narrows the group. This narrow group dominates the content and controls the accessible for information, especially when it comes to religion, philosophy, or cultural views. The platform is volunteer run. 62 accounts wield the most power and can appoint or remove. They're the ones you have to convince if you want to. They have the final word, basically.
Okay, so I was looking up AFA's Wikipedia, and I hadn't looked at this in a year, I guess. And most of the stuff here is pretty factual in the first two paragraphs. And then it gets to this paragraph. AFA has been listed as an anti-LGBTQ hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center since November 2010 for the propagation of known falsehoods and the use of demonizing propaganda against the LGBTQ people. As an aside, I always get a chuckle out of people who don't believe in demons saying that we're demonizing people.
Yeah.
So anyway, the LGBT. So what I'm saying is, right there, that paragraph is from a left-wing point of view.
Yes.
It's not neutral.
Nope.
And there's no chance for well, here's the response from AFA to what the SPLC says about them being a hate group. You see what?
Yeah.
So there's an example, quite frankly. Somebody edits this. So just beware when you're using Wikipedia that they have a liberal/progressive bias on almost all topics.
Like
That's
most
what
of
this guy's
the
saying.
legacy media.
So Wikipedia protects certain pages to prevent vandalism, is what it calls it. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, we got a bunch of visitors
the
today.
bus pulled up. Your article can fall into three categories and be protected from editing. Full protection means who can edit? Only those who are admitted to get for controversial or highly vandalized pages, political figures, recent events, and I suspect our page. It can be semi-protected, which would be for persistent vandalism from new or anonymous users, or extended confirmed accounts, which are for pages prone to coordinated disputation.
What was the last word you used?
Disruption, actually. I can't read. I'm blind.
What did you say?
Disputation.
But disruption.
You just made up a word?
I did.
That's what Wikipedia does.
I know.
That's what we're talking about.
I know.
here.
You could be an editor if you want.
That's a pretty impressive new word you
Thank
made
you very
up
much.
there.
Thank you very much.
All right. So beware of Wikipedia, right?
For sure.
Okay,
Hey,
Steve, what you got next?
I want to talk to Ray. You said you go bike riding?
Yeah.
Ray does.
Don't do this in England.
Okay.
All right. The English government has, and I'm finding the British police say they will no longer investigate bike thefts at train stations.
No.
They have decriminalized bike theft.
What? This is wrong.
The
This
British
is so
Transport
wrong.
Police say it will not investigate bike thefts outside stations where the bicycle has been left for more than 2 hours.
What?
It means most bike thefts will not be investigated. CCTV footage will not be looked at outside a 2-hour time frame. And this article here has videos of thieves in broad daylight using chainsaws and bandsaws and all kinds of different things to steal bikes.
Do they say why they've done this?
They have more important things to do.
What is the reasoning?
What I said is they to prevent thefts which have skyrocketed, British authorities have installed safe storages which they can still get through. They do it because they don't have time. They're have bigger things to worry about. The more time our officers spend reviewing CCTV, the less time they have available for patrolling railway stations and trains, investigating crimes which cause more harm. One of the things that they're still investigating, of course, is posts on social media that they don't like.
They have time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This same article, and I'll send it to Brent. He can post it. Same article has a British judge sentencing a guy that posted something that he didn't like about immigrants online, and he was sentenced to 2 years in jail.
Lest we make too much fun of the Brits on this, it's not too long ago that in San Francisco and I think in Oakland, California, remember they allowed people to steal up to $1,000 worth of stuff from Walgreens?
I went out there. I took advantage of that. I got a lot of good stuff because I try to keep it within $800-900.
That's right. You keep
of
it under the
stuff.
limit.
But anyway, so
Just filled up your cart?
Yes, just filled up my cart. Every day I did that for like a week, so I didn't get arrested. But just as long as you hold it under 1,000, you can steal whatever you want.
Then you came home and opened up a store.
You know what?
a thrift store.
One store did to stop this?
What?
They priced everything in the whole store at $999.
Yeah, good for
and
them.
said that the discount will be given at the register.
California idiocy right there.
Mighty expensive for a toothbrush.
But you get a discount at the register.
Yeah, but
$998.
All right, good to know. You're listening to today's issues. We got 5 minutes left. What do you got, Steve?
Donald Trump is talking.
No.
Yes.
What?
Donald Trump has been talking about his shutdown of the government.
Well, wait a minute. Way you characterize that, I would not if I can speak for President Trump, he would not say I shut down the federal.
No, he would say the Democrats did.
That's a disputation, right?
That's right, disputation.
Yeah, I think that's disputation.
Well,
Don't you get that from the priest?
I do. I want to play. This is Donald Trump, but not really Donald Trump. This is the best Donald Trump impersonator you'll ever hear talking about this. This is cut 16.
Hola, mi fellow Americanos y bienvenidos al cierre de Schumer. That means welcome to the Schumer shutdown. We call it the Schumer siesta, right? It's the Schumer siesta. He put the government on siesta, crying Chuck. And El Hakimo Jefe Jeffries, we used to call him Dollar Store Obama, till we realized he's worth far less than $1. But they put the government on siesta to give illegal aliens your health care. We're not going to let it happen. I looked at both of them. I said, we're not going to let it happen. It's no bueno. I said, it's no bueno. They begged me. They said, but senor, por favor, please give illegal aliens the health care. I said, we're not going to do it. We're never going to do it. It's not going to happen. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Who is this?
That's John Farash.
He's a hugely popular online
Commentator.
Trump impersonator.
Well, he does more than that, but yes, he has his own podcast. But he's.
Hey, we got the story about the Pope blessing the ice cube.
Yes.
Yeah, we got some issues here.
Yeah, we're not making this up, people.
Yeah.
We're talking about the new Pope, the leader of the Catholic Church. He's an American.
Yeah, he's from
Pope
Chicago.
Bob from Chicago. Right?
What's his name?
Pope Bob.
Robert.
Pope Robert? Pope Bob?
Pope Bob from Chicago.
What is his proper name?
Leo.
Because they take on another name when they become Pope, right?
Yeah, Pope Leo the 14th.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
when are we going to have Coach Bill the First?
Right.
Pope Bill the First, right? We don't have that. Pope Leo the what?
Leo the 14th.
Okay, listen. Listen to what he participated in yesterday.
He spoke to 1,000 representatives at the 10th annual celebration of the late Pope Francis's Climate Summit, and he was joined on stage by Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he placed his hand on a large chunk of ice taken from melting glaciers in Greenland, and then he said that he hopes the UN Climate Conference will take action and listen to the cry of the Earth's poor, and then he blessed the ice. Gave it a prayer of blessing.
What?
That's what I said.
Are you saying he got a piece of a glacier from Greenland and somebody flew it to Rome?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
You know, do you know the carbon footprint that jet used to bring that ice cube from? I bet that scared the crowd when they told them ice was here. Huh?
Yeah.
You know what? Listen.
I don't get this at all. What are you blessing the ice for?
Do you have the blessing that the Pope gave the ice cube?
I am seeing
What did he say to him? If an ice cube can be a gender, I don't know.
Blessed a block of ice. Let's see. We will raise hope today by demanding that leaders act with courage, not delay. We will join with.
All right. Did he say this in Latin?
No, he's American.
Just English? Oh, okay. You know what? That's ridiculous. Huh?
Yeah.
And I'm...
it's hard to parody something like that.
All my Catholic friends would say the same thing. That's ridiculous.
Yes, they
would. Okay. Surely the Pope can find something better to do than go around putting his hand on ice cubes, blessing them.
You would think.
Climate change religion's what it is. Huh?
Yep.
All right, we will see you tomorrow with Trivia Friday here on American Family Radio. My thanks to Fred, Steve, Ray, Chris, Sandy, and Brent Creeley, our producer. Have a great afternoon, everybody.